As countries like the US, the UK, and EU members go all out to exert maximum economic pressure on Russia, one of their targeted measures is the sanctioning of a group of extremely high net worth Russian individuals known as the oligarchs.
Go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs.
Multi-billionaire Roman Abramovich became the highest profile Russian to have their assets frozen.
We're joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts.
2 mega yachts owned by Russian billionaires have been seized.
Their luxury apartments, their private jets.
Protesters, squatters have moved in here and occupied this £50 million mansion belonging to Oleg Deripaska. He's one of 7 Russians who was sanctioned last week.
These sanctions are designed to hit the mega-rich oligarchs where it hurts. According to Forbes, at least 12 Russians have fallen off the billionaires list in recent weeks. The theory behind the sanction is this: Russian oligarchs are supposed to be very influential and hold huge sway over the inner workings of the Kremlin. So, if they are feeling personal repercussions, then maybe they would collectively pressure Vladimir Putin away from his previous decisions. Right now, these sanctions seem to be showing some of the desired effects. Several oligarchs have publicly expressed hope for peace and a ceasefire, but that was the full extent to which they were willing to go.
Imposing sanctions against us here just create enormous pressure for us personally, but we do not have any impact for political decision.
Of course, it is hard not to be suspicious about this claim that comes from a sanctioned oligarch himself, but the situation on the ground is indeed a bit more complicated than the theory. Ben Judah, a senior fellow at the US think tank The Atlantic Council, said the idea that individual oligarchs could sway Putin now is a misunderstanding of modern Russia. He said that's how Russia operated 15 or 20 years ago, not how Russia operates today. To understand what's changed, we need to understand how Russian oligarchs came to be, some 30 years ago at the fall of the Soviet Union. The Russian economy was in disarray, and as a means to raise cash, then Russian President Boris Yeltsin had to sell off some state-owned industries. This saw the privatization of industries in vital areas such as energy, manufacturing, and finance. The way the administration approached this was to issue so-called privatization vouchers equally among the population, which could be used to purchase shares in businesses. That sounded very sensible and egalitarian in theory. Everyone gets a piece of the country's industries, right? But the reality went the opposite way. Many ordinary Russians then didn't understand how this worked. Since private ownership was illegal in the USSR, nobody there had lived in a market economy before. So many people had no idea about the potential value of these vouchers and sold them for chump change as they were struggling to put food on the table. It was then that several well-connected Russians saw an opportunity and amassed huge amounts of these shares, took control of some of Russia's biggest companies, and became the oligarchs. These new elites held so much political influence that most Russians then saw them as the true puppet masters of the Kremlin. It was also because of this that the approvals for Boris Yeltsin plummeted. Enter Putin's presidency in year 2000. One of his presidential promises to Russians then was to bring the oligarchs to heel. As Putin consolidated state power, he opened investigations, removed licenses, and threatened prosecutions against several oligarchs. The message to them was clear: you can keep your lucrative businesses, but you're never going to step over the Kremlin again. The power dynamics completely changed after that. These days, the relationship between the oligarchs and Putin remain close, and Russia's political oppositions have often accused many of them of still being involved in corruption. But there is no definitive proof as to how much they can still influence the Kremlin's decision-making process. The US had slapped sanctions on Russian oligarchs after the 2014 Crimean crisis and the 2018 alleged Russian meddling of the US presidential election. But political experts say no major policy shifts were seen from the Kremlin. Granted, the sanctions this time are way stronger than before. The result might be different as these oligarchs watch their fortunes and lifestyles turn completely upside down. But what the sanctions could eventually accomplish remains to be seen.